On today's episode, we talk Disney World attractions March Madness style. Welcome to the 16th episode of the MousekaBros podcast. Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm his brother Randy. Be sure to like us on Facebook at the MousekaBros. We will be releasing new episodes every Friday, so make sure you subscribe to get the latest podcast. If you have any suggestions for upcoming shows or just want to say hi, you can email us at mousekabrospodcast@gmail.com.
If you're planning your next Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Universal Orlando vacation, you're going to want to reach out to me, Ryan Noppinger, with Capture the Magic Vacations. You can reach me at ryan.noppinger@ctmvagent.com. This is a no-cost-to-use service to use me as your travel agent. I'll make sure you get the best vacation package or deal for your whole family. I can also help make dining reservations and plan fast passes to make planning your Disney vacation less stressful and more magical.
If you haven't already, please check out our rules episode that explains a little more in depth of how we're going to complete this March Madness bracket. For a quick overview, we have randomly pre-selected 64 teams that are Disney World attractions. We'll talk about each of them and pick a winner of each match until we are left with a single champion. On today's episode, we cover the last 16 matches in round 1, bringing our total of 48 attractions down to 32. And our next episode will be round 2, where 32 attractions become 16. So, I mean, I guess just go right into it, right?
Yeah,
you can just kind of start.
Interested in any recap on any other thoughts from kind of the first 16?
I guess that kind of goes. This applies to the second 16. I think even the entire bracket. That I think that there is no definite winner. In any match, I feel like either one could win, just based on facts and kind of our opinions when we talk. There's never ever, there's been like 2 or 3 that we've just been like,
clear-cut winners.
Yeah, clear-cut, but mainly there's not a lot of clear-cut winners.
No, which, is surprising to me, before we drew who was going to get what spot, I thought a good majority of them were going to be a clear-cut winner for each, and it definitely has not been that way. So complete surprise to me. So definitely excited to do this first round of 16, if that makes sense.
That's a weird statement.
I know, but there was too many to do all 32 matchups all at once. So that's why we're kind of breaking it up here. So, let's get right into the first round. So, the first matchup for this side is the Frontierland Shooting Arcade up against Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress.
So you can start it off?
I like Carousel of Progress. I do. It's iconic from the World's Fair. But the Frontierland Shooting Arcade is one of those ones I must do every time because I love it, even though my wife doesn't sometimes let me, even though it's $1 to play, which I guess is also interesting. Even though it's in the park, it's not free.
Right,
like
it's an actual
Carousel,
extra cost.
Well, not free. I mean, nothing's free.
Free, but you're paying for it. But it's already an extra
exactly.
cost.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I should have said. But again, it is only $1. I feel like anywhere one of these shooting arcades are, I would probably end up playing it. And now that I can play it in Disney World is really, really cool. This is hard for me. Okay. Because I really like the shooting arcade, right. But I feel like you're going to say, otherwise.
Yeah, so I am. For me, the shooting arcade isn't a must-do. It's not one of those, we even had a discussion, do we count this as an attraction or not? I think it's one of those things that, if you're kind of passing through Frontierland, it's, in the middle of your vacation, you're waiting in Frontierland for like a parade or something, and you have some time to spare, you're like, hey, the shooting arcade's right there. Let's go do it. Other than that, you're not, for me at least, you're not going to walk by the shooting arcade, stop everything you're doing, and do the shooting arcade. Except for you, Ryan. You're like the only person that would do that.
Yeah, except for me.
But Carousel of Progress is one of those things that, if you only go to Disney once a year like us, you're doing the Carousel of Progress at least once. Probably not twice, because it is a long show.
Yeah.
It's a longer show.
If you do it twice, the second time is because you're taking a nap.
Right, and just need to get out of the heat or something, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
But for me, the Carousel of Progress is a must-do. The Frontierland, again, it's just that kind of gap filler that if I have time, and we're not doing anything, sure, I'll do it. But if we don't do it, it's not one of those things that, like, I'm going to be upset about. For that reason, the Carousel of Progress wins it for me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to end up agreeing with you because, it is an extra cost, even though it's $1. It is an extra cost. It's not included when the change machines work, because usually they're
down,
broken or down. Well, I feel
there's a lot of things at Disney that are usually broken and down.
That's probably a full episode, if not a series of episodes for that. Probably an on-running list. But for this matchup, yeah, it's classic. The Carousel Progress wins it.
All right, so that is official that the Carousel Progress will move on to round 2. The Frontierland shooting arcade, I don't know why it's a tongue twister, will be eliminated. So moving on to our second match, we have the Swiss Family Treehouse versus Turtle Talk with Crush. I will kind of start us off since you started off the last one. Turtle Talk with Crush is it's a different type of experience. Being able to sit down and actually interact with Crush and, have all the kids be so excited. And then you got Dory and the whale. It's so unique. There's not a lot like it. Monsters, Inc. is kind of one of those ones like Turtle Talk with Crush where it's very similar technology. For me, I'm going with Swiss Family Treehouse.
Really?
It's a curveball.
Really?
I know.
It's a walkthrough.
You're 100% right. Turtle Talk with Crush it's like the same show over and over again. You do it 5 times and it's cool. But you get to that 6th time and you're like, okay, it's the same jokes. It's the same talking. It's the same conversations that he's having with the kids. It is also, it's very much a kid ride. It doesn't appeal to the parents. There is like a little bit where it appeals to the parents, but a lot of it is them interacting with the kids and not interacting with the audience. So it's fun as, if you have kids that are sitting and watching the show, but like us that don't have any kids, we're always sitting in the back laughing at what Crush is doing with the other kids. But for me, that Swiss Family Treehouse, it's always unique because it has so many levels. So, even if you're not looking at the attraction and you're actually looking out into the park, you can see so many different views. It's also a really good fireworks spot. If you don't feel like waiting, you can just actually go to the top of the Swiss Family Treehouse and stand there. Until like a cast member probably like walks through and says like, you got to keep moving. But I like it so much better than Turtle Talk with Crush. I think too, I do wish, I will say that the Swiss Family Treehouse, I wish it was like Disneyland and it was like Tarzan's Treehouse, because then it has that IP and interaction instead of the Swiss Family Tree, just the Swiss Robinson. And maybe that's just because I don't know enough about them, because I think it was like a TV show or like a movie or something or other.
Yes, but not 100% sure, because I haven't cared that much.
Right. I do understand that. I knew it was something, but I can't remember exactly what. But that is why I'm going with Swiss Family Treehouse. If it was up against something that wasn't Turtle Talk with Crush, I think Swiss Family Treehouse would be eliminated. But I think Turtle Talk with Crush, I think Swiss Family Treehouse is a little bit better.
With me, not everybody can do Swiss Family Treehouse. You have to walk it. It's steps. You walk through it once, you look and you say, oh, that's cool. Yeah, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. But to do it again and again, rewalkability in that matter, I don't know. You do it once and you look at it, type of thing. Kind of like I'm gonna say it's like a museum, but it's
right. No, absolutely.
But again,
it's
you have to walk through it. There's
right.
no guide to say, oh, this is what this is. That's what this is. Even though Turtle Talk with Crush does have the same kind of beginning, middle, and end with the jokes and the phrases that they all use and stuff like that. For me, for this, what makes Turtle Talk with Crush more interesting is that the kids' reaction to Crush and the questions that they ask. Sometimes, yeah, they're the same show to show, but sometimes they ask just like random questions. That's funny to me, and even the adults. That's the kind of interaction, that's different each time. And then you're talking with Crush. Even though it's not really Crush,
right?
But again,
right.
you're in your head, you're like, yeah, that's Crush, and he's, even if he's animated on the screen, it's animated Crush still talking to me. You've never talked to me, but talking to the kids, and even for me, just to watch that is interesting. So for me, I'm gonna have to stick with Turtle Talk with Crush.
I think you swayed me. I think really thinking about it, I think Turtle Talk with Crush is better. Now, let me ask you this. If it was the Tarzan's Treehouse, would that have changed anything? Because the Tarzan Treehouse, one, it has actual characters in it. Yeah, they're just statues, but it has actual scenes from the movie in it. And then they have the whole, like, kind of pot scene where, all of the apes came and break stuff and made the song so it's more interactive. If it was the Tarzan's Treehouse rather than the Swiss Family Treehouse, would that have made a difference?
No.
No, you think Turtle Talk?
Yeah, no. I think Turtle Talk, again, with that element of the interaction with guests, that it brings it, when I remember when this first came out and you're like, oh, what?
Right.
Like, how did they do that? And then you're like, oh, okay, well, they have cameras and stuff like that, which, and then they duplicated it with
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. So it did get kind of old quick. I wish they would have been a little slower with it, because now even like Monsters Inc., is kind of like that. Well, if it's
We're free, right? Well, let's not get
into
into that because we have that later. But
yeah. But, if you're just getting off of The Seas with Nemo and Friends, this is a great transition to keep that whole Nemo element going.
Yeah, okay. You know what? It's settled. Turtle Talk with Crush is the winner. Swiss Robinson Family Treehouse will be eliminated. And that was definitely a good matchup. So I'm glad that it was actual discussion about it, not just like, oh, this one's better. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they first listen and they hear me say that, they're going to be astonished, like, what? Oh, he's just saying that just to be different, just to have a different opinion. But, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm glad to see Turtle Talk with Crush go forward and Swiss Family Treehouse, as you would some say, be cut down. But moving on to the next matchup is the Hall of Presidents up against the Haunted Mansion.
That wasn't good.
I know, that was
bad. That sounded nothing like him.
Should be deep. The Haunted Mansion.
That sounded worse, actually.
Okay.
That was worse
right.
than. So
okay.
let's just
that's
stop
why I'm not
that.
A voiceover.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we're doing a podcast and not famous. So you start this matchup off.
All right. So the Hall of Presidents. Again, great that you can meet. Really not meet, but watch all of the presidents up on stage in audio animatronic form. Again, another show we see once a year. If we see it
to take a nap, and if
we see it, a second time, it's definitely just to take a nap, and that's about it. The Haunted Mansion for me, I think wins this one just by looking at it. I think it's the name that goes along with Haunted Mansion. It's definitely a must-do. If I do it a second time, it's because I want to, not because it's just to get out of the heat and the sun and, in that matter. But it's not really that scary, even though I'm sure 5-year-old me was petrified of it.
Well, Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Well, I know my fiance Katie is still scared of it.
Yeah.
She has her eyes closed for most of the ride, so that's a fun fact.
But I think once you get over that, I don't know how you'd say it, but like that scared factor of it, you're like, yeah, these are just animatronics. It's not like a genuine haunted house that like we've been to, or because I don't go to them because I don't like them.
I love them.
Like we're close to Field of
Streams. Yeah, it's the biggest one
in Pennsylvania.
Oh my God, I love them.
Or there's a couple of the haunted rides down in Ocean City, Maryland.
Love it.
That you love. I can't stand it. I think maybe if Haunted Mansion had like real people in it scaring you, I don't think I'd like it.
It did. Fun fact, it did. There was a knight that would kind of go around and sneak up behind the moving cars, and he would jump out and scare people unexpectedly. They took him out because most people's reaction were to punch. So the actor who was playing the knight kept getting injured so much, so they actually took out the knight. So it did have
short-term disability.
Yeah, so it was... for me, I am going to do Haunted Mansion, but not because of the reason that you think. I have two reasons. One, I feel like they wanted to have some sort of American history. So they were like, oh, let's talk about the presidents, because that's always a good subject to bring to a theme park with a bunch of parents. You know, let's bring in politics, right? Who doesn't love politics? Anyways, they had, you know, the Hall of Presidents, and then Epcot came around, because the Hall of Presidents opened in 1971 with the park. And then the American Adventure came around in 1982 with Epcot, and I think that show is better than Hall of Presidents. You know, I think the American Adventure talks about America as everything, as anything you can think of that it was important to history. The American Adventure talks about it, while the Hall of Presidents mainly focuses on the presidents. The second thing is kind of that politics aspect in it. You know, when Trump became president, they added a security guard into the Hall of Presidents because Disney was afraid that once they said Trump's name, you know, and when they're announcing all of the presidents, they said Trump's name, people in the audience who are very against Trump would do something, you know, start booing, make a scene out of it, and ruin the show for everyone. So I think having that aspect on a ride, it makes it not family friendly. You know, having this kind of politic talk, you know, while having a family attraction, I think that takes me out of it, and I think that's why it loses for me.
Yeah, not to go into the politics of it and all, but just overall, all I'll say is just it's not the place, not the time, not the place,
right,
to do that type of thing.
I completely agree, but there are people that are, and the fact that Disney is now kind of, I don't want to say providing the place, but people are going to take advantage of that place to do something.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that is kind of why that attraction may just need to go, because the American Adventure doesn't, like, it talks about politics, but it doesn't talk about which side is better. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think this is a gray area when it comes to, you know, family friendly and politics.
Yeah, and whether it, because it just went through a refurbishment, new kind of like audio and stuff like that, and mainly because they were making the Trump animatronic figure for it. So it is relatively updated in that regard, but again, good place to take a nap, good place to get in that American spirit type of feel of
right.
Liberty Square, which is great. You know, I don't want to get into it, but had, I guess, Trump not become president, would the Hall of Presidents still be a reasonable attraction for Walt Disney World?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this past election, I think there was people on both sides who were very strong about their views. You know, I'm not saying anything that, like, I don't like Hall of Presidents because Trump's now in it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that people are making a scene that Trump's in it, and it ruins the attraction. And I don't like having that place, you know, having that gas to put on the fire to feed the politics. And that's what I think this attraction is. So back to your question, if Trump were to not become president, and, you know, Hillary or somebody else would become president, would we still be having the same conversation? no, maybe not this year, but next year or whenever the next election would be, would we have this conversation? I don't know. At some point,
only a matter of when.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, of when. All right. Well, and that to sum that up, Haunted Mansion's moving on. The Hall of Presidents.
Yeah. Basically, sum that up.
Staying behind. All right. You want to read the next one?
Yeah, so moving on to the next matchup. It is Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival against Enchanted Tales with Belle. I like Captain EO better. I like Honey, I Shrunk the Audience better. This Disney Pixar Short Film Festival doesn't fit into what the Imagination Pavilion kind of represents. I think that they didn't know what to put there. They had Michael Jackson after he passed away. They put Captain EO back in. That kind of got old. So then they kind of put something else in there and they didn't know what to put. So they have this filler festival in. So that's not good. Enchanted Tales with Belle. The first time we did it, our breath was taken away. When you go into her father's workshop and, this little mirror that you see on the wall then becomes a whole door that you walk through into the castle. And then you have the dresser, the wardrobe there kind of talking. And then Lumiere, who looks so lifelike with his speech and his arm movement. And then having you get to meet Belle is just, it's a different type of attraction. It's one of the attractions that you would think would be for kids, right? Like, oh, it's Enchanted Tales with Belle. Parents are going to take their kids because it's, Beauty and the Beast. But, we do it and we get picked to be in the show. A couple of times that we've gone, we've been picked to be like the guards that have been in there. So we've gotten to, be a part of the show. And the fact that we're full-grown adults being picked to be a part of the show and we're actually enjoying it and loving it and getting into it, I think that's a different type of attraction. And it's definitely a very, very well done attraction. Like from start to finish, they planned this attraction out they just perfected it. And it is a great attraction. For me, that's why it beats Disney Pixar Short Film Festival.
Yeah, the Short Film Festival definitely seemed like it was a temporary solution. Then the temporary solution became the permanent solution.
Right.
And it just hasn't recovered or flipped or anything. I was trying to look up the films that are in it. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head from last time. It was the short Feast with the dog, if you remember that one at all.
Yes. Where he kind of
he kind of feeds them and then
the whole story is about the dog eating food and how this human breaks up. Spoiler alert.
And then Piper.
Yes, with the bird and the ocean and the waves.
Love that one. I can't remember the name of the Mickey one, and that's the one I was trying to look up.
Where it's Mickey and he's in a cartoon.
Yes.
And then he comes out of the screen.
Yes.
And I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called.
I can't think of it for the life of me. And I was trying to look it up, but anyway.
If you know about it, comment on Facebook.
Feast and Piper, you both can see anytime. I'm sure it's on. You can probably search it on YouTube, or if you have the DVD that was associated with that short,
right, you
have it. You can watch it anywhere. The Mickey one, I believe, came out with a special DVD for his 90th. And it might be on YouTube. I'm sure other people have probably recorded it. And
Netflix.
Really?
It's on Netflix. There's a Disney Pixar short film thing on Netflix that has a bunch of different ones, and that Mickey one is on there.
Yeah. So then all together, you can see all three of these films at home. Which now probably after this episode,
they're gonna take it off.
I'm probably gonna go watch it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, but you can watch all of these anywhere, even though they are the good, make you feel good in the park, something to do in the park. It just the temporary solution needs to be temporary, and it needs to go. Even if it goes back to Captain EO, like you said, okay, that's what that space was originally meant for, was Captain EO. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I did watch it once. Or audience, not kids.
Yeah, it's Honey, I Shrunk
the audience.
Right.
I did watch it once. Don't like it. Stuff goes underneath of you.
And touches your feet.
And not a fan of that. Definitely not a fan of that. So I ended it once. Once Captain EO came back out, because I never originally wanted, because age.
He was scared.
What? No.
Yeah.
No, I've only ever known Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Right, because you were scared. No,
Yeah.
I'm just
But once that like re-released, went and saw that. Nothing Flies Underneath of You. Loved it. But the short film, I watch it once, and that's about it. Enchanted Tells Us Belle. Again, we were blown away the first time we saw it when you walk through the mirror. I mean, what mirror? But the whole storytelling around it is what makes it. Even though it's the same tale every time, you still get to encounter it with Belle and Lumiere and the wardrobe, which is a beyond experience.
Absolutely.
For us as adults. So I can't even imagine what it must feel like being a kid doing that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, for me, definitely Enchanted Tells Us Belle.
It would be interesting to see if they, for the short film festival, if they like somehow, would change the films out every so often. I know it takes so long for a short film to kind of be released, and it's normally released with movies, but like, wouldn't that be a cool place if they like released a new film every 2 months or something? I don't know.
Yeah, but I just wouldn't want that space to then turn into another
Walt Disney Presents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where they're just showing the next trailer coming out, or because they have enough of those.
Right.
So
yeah, I agree.
To me, just make it something new completely.
Something else, yeah. Just take out the theater and
incorporate it with.
I like it. All right. So moving on to our next matchup.
So is Prince Charming, Regal Carousel, and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. To me, without even really thinking about it, to me, a roller coaster is going to move on. Especially in this case, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Absolutely love it. It's a runaway rail car. The carousel, yeah, I get on it. If it's not a long wait and it's just nostalgia, for Fantasyland. But for me, definitely Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And a big part of that also is it's a different ride to me during the day than it is at night.
No, absolutely. I do agree with that. It is definitely two separate rides. It's a little close for me just because that carousel kind of, it has, like you said, that nostalgia. It has the history. It plays all of the classic tunes. But it is still just, a carousel. Yeah, the horses have some history behind them. The whole carousel has a history. I mean, a carousel is so iconic to Disney because that's when Walt Disney created, Disneyland in his head when his daughters was riding a carousel. So there's so much history. But Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, it is two completely different rides. It's fast, it turns, it's very family friendly. Everyone's on, it's always laughing. I will say though that it is a runaway mine train. And a lot of amusement parks do have those. Yeah, this one's a little bit more well done because, it's going in and out of caves and it's Disneyfied. I don't know if that's a word, but like I'm making it. It's Disneyfied. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But between these two, I think Big Thunder Mountain Railroad kind of wins this one, but it'd be interesting moving forward to see how it does in my
Had the
mind.
carousel been up against another iconic, nostalgic ride?
If it was like Carousel or Small World, that would be hard.
Yeah.
That'd be a really hard one.
That would have been a very, very interesting discussion.
But for this match.
But Big Thunder.
Yeah.
Definitely moving on here.
Moving on to our next one. So it's Tough to Be a Bug versus Peter Pan's Flight.
Peter Plans.
I know, I'm stuttering today.
Pan's
I know, enunciate.
Plan.
Enunciate. Do we need to talk about this? Do we need to discuss it?
Now, I'll throw my 2 cents in of I really, really, really don't like It's Tough to Be a Bug. I'm really not a fan of any type of 4D show where anything goes underneath of you and it makes you feel creepy crawly, especially when it's bugs. Just 4D and bugs shouldn't be a thing. I don't like bugs outside of Disney. So being in a park, being in their quote zone underneath of a tree and being zapped by a grasshopper, just no thank you.
Yeah. I will say that it is a beautiful theater. It is very big, sits lots of people, and you're in the Tree of Life. So you're not getting rid of this theater, because if you get rid of the theater, you have to do major work on the Tree of Life. I do like the pathway leading up to the theater also, because you get this very detailed, you're very close up to the Tree of Life. So
it's the closest you can get up to the tree,
right?
Other than when you first walk into the park there.
Right, exactly. So I wish it was a theater, like a show about animal life, 3D, maybe not 4D or like some 4D effects, but yeah, I think it's tough to be a bug. Needs to get out.
Yeah, just replace it with something else, like the Disney nature movies or some type of tribute like that.
Right.
would be interesting and probably pleasant.
Now, it's also interesting that Peter Pan's flight is much longer in Disney World, but it's more, here's the word again, Disneyfied in Disneyland. I wish that you could take the kind of like the I don't know how to call it, like the lighting, the Disney special effects. That's what, like the special effects from Disneyland and the length of Disney World, and put them together. I think that would make this ride just unbelievable.
Rumored for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World is that they're going to get the same effects that Disneyland has.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I would be very, very happy with.
I mean, because Peter Pan's flight is definitely starting to feel outdated. At the very end, if you haven't seen Peter Pan or been on the ride, and he's a huge spoiler, but after Peter Pan defeats Captain Hook, and Captain Hook is standing on Croc's mouth, that is actually original audio from opening day. Is Captain Hook saying that, which is cool because it's like nostalgia, and it's like, oh wow, that's original audio. But at the same time, it's original audio. We can't even update that audio for that. You know what I mean? To make it even sound better.
Or turn down the audio for Shmi. Oh, come on, you can hear that from the beginning of while you're waiting in line. You can hear that.
But I think it just needs an update altogether. So Peter Pan's flight goes Peter Pan's flight. I don't know why I can't.
Peter Pan with the plan.
Peter Pan's flight moves on. It's tough to be. A bug does not.
It was squashed.
All right, moving on right to the next matchup. We have
Impressions de France and Mad Tea Party. That was my French accent. Did you like it?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
It was not.
All right.
So I'll start this off. I don't need to say much about it. I don't like Impressions de France. I think it's a bad show. It doesn't fit. I'm very excited for the Ratatouille ride, even though it will not be replacing Impressions de France. I wish it was, but it's not. Plus, they're adding the Beauty and the Beast show, but also running Impressions de France. I wish the Beauty and the Beast show would just replace it. It's like they didn't know what type of attraction to put there, and other attractions had movies, so they put a movie in there. Mad Tea Party, it's a cup ride. There's a lot of them attractions. It can make you sick. I like the one in Disneyland better than Disney World, because the Disneyland is outside. Again, it's one of those rides that it's two different rides. If you ride it during the day, you get to see one thing. If you ride it at night, then you have all the lights above you and you feel very invested in the world. But for this matchup in particularly, the Mad Tea Party wins it for me.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and agree with you. Impressions de France, France. I feel like you have to say de France.
De France.
De France.
You got to put that.
You have to say it.
Impressions de France.
Yeah, you can't say de France. Yeah, it's a show. Geez, I can't even remember the last time I've seen it. Mad Tea Party just wrote it last July with some friends because they made me get on it. AKA, I kind of wanted to get on it, but I was like, I don't know, I might throw up. But I was like, let's try anyway.
Did you throw up?
Almost.
Oh, gosh.
I almost blacked out, honestly.
disgusting.
It's dangerous. Don't get on with somebody that likes to spin. I'm just saying. But no, again, an attraction for me definitely takes precedence over a show in this matchup.
So Mad Tea Party wins. Why Ryan says that is because the very next matchup is Tomorrowland Speedway versus O Canada. So Ryan, you can start off this matchup since you already kind of started what you were saying.
I guess I'm kind of 50-50 here. Tomorrowland Speedway, they have this type of ride at a couple other amusement parks. Like for us is Hershey. I think they might even have one near the Six Flags near us.
I don't think they have
remember
this ride. I think they just have normal go-karts.
Okay.
They might have this ride too, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
But they all have some type of car with a rod in the middle that you can't just drive off the course and go in. Tomorrowland Speedway is no different. You're in a racer car going around kind of Tomorrowland, kind of Fantasyland,
right?
Which is weird. O Canada, even though it is a show, I like Martin Short in it. I like
he's
that.
funny.
I like that back part of Canada with you look at the country Canada, at World Showcase, and you're like, okay, it kind of has the architecture of it, but then if you either go around kind of the garden side and go that way towards the cellar, the steakhouse. I feel like I'm saying that wrong.
It's fine.
If you go that way, there's actually a bridge that you can take, and it goes. Then you're like in a mountain cave area, canyon area with a huge waterfall back there on your way into kind of the waiting area for the theater, and that is absolutely awesome that they added that waterfall feature and really all of that. It's definitely a cool. You don't feel like you're in Epcot anymore. And I really, really appreciate when they do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say it's sad, though, that it is so far back and so hidden, because if you really don't know it's there, and this is your first time ever in Epcot, and you're just kind of going to the store, you could easily miss this attraction and easily miss this site.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. To me, it almost maybe a little underrated. If I had to see any of the shows in World Showcase, this would be the one that I pick. Depending on what they're doing for Tomorrowland Speedway with Tron Roller Coaster, whether they're just updating the cars or cars and the track or just the track, because I know it's all been rumored, and
right.
Tomorrowland Speedway might win it later.
But not right now.
But I think right now, for me, O Canada.
Yeah, I mean, definitely O Canada for me, too. I love O Canada because I love the song at the end. Like, whenever I'm creating, like, a Disney playlist, like, the O Canada song always goes on that Disney playlist for me. I'll be driving down the road and I'll start singing it. And then it gets to the French part. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Canada, my Canada.
Oh, my. We just lost 10 subscribers.
Oh, my gosh. I think I broke the audio. But, yeah, I love that song. So that wins it for me. On to our next matchup, which is the Navi River Journey and Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor. I am completely torn. Navi River Journey is new, and it's awesome, and the attraction's awesome. But wow, is it not worth that wait at all? And then you got to waste a fast pass on it for a ride that really doesn't have to be a fast pass. I mean, the ride's so short that they slowed down the water jets so it would be a longer ride, because it's basically just it's just like a circle that you do. But I mean, that attraction, the animatronic at the end is so lifelike. It is unbelievable. Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor was really funny when we started, going to it. After 5 times, it's the same joke, same story. It's still somewhat funny, but like now it's just one of those things. It was just like, oh, here comes this joke. Ah, there it is. It's like you could do the show from memory. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, definitely the jokes, even though it's kind of different each show, you have heard the joke before if you don't already know the joke already, because they are all kid jokes, which, don't get me wrong, there are some kid jokes out there that are funny, but, when you hear, how do you make a tissue dance 50 times?
You already know what the punchline is.
Yeah, and if you don't know what it is, it's you put a little boogie in it, which which actually is really funny. But again, you hear it 50 times, and you're like, "Oh, put a little boogie in it." It's not funny the 51st time.
Yeah, you do that voice every time you hear that joke 50 times.
Yeah. But Navi River Journey, for me, out of these two, we'll move on. A, because it's a newer attraction. Even because Pandora for me, and Monsters Inc. It just needs updated with jokes, characters, maybe, like different Monsters Inc. characters. Just change it up a little bit. But yeah, for me, Navi River Journey. Have you seen the I think YouTube video? It's like maybe like a minute clip of like a guy reenacting Navi River Journey, and he's in his car, and so it's dark, and he has like kind of like soothing music in the background, and he has maybe like a 10 glow sticks, and he's just like banging them on like his front dash, and he's just saying my wah.
Really?
It's really funny, and that's basically
a
sum up of the whole entire ride. But anyway, like I said, Navi River Journey for me, definitely going to move it on this one. Do you agree?
No, I'm going with Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, just because of the re-rideability. Navi River Journey, you have to waste that fast pass, and it's definitely not worth the fast pass. It's also not worth the wait. To me, this ride, this ride failed. They had time to plan this. They built it. They built the space for this ride. Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor took over a space, and I just know that they can still really do anything. It was the oh my gosh, the time traveler thing.
Yeah, the timekeeper.
Yeah.
Which I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. rest in peace. But for me, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor definitely goes on, just because it's one of those rides that it's like, oh yeah, you want to do it? It's 10, 15-minute wait. Sure, let's do it. Navi River Journey, it's an hour wait. Yeah, we're gonna pass it on this trip. That's why Monsters Inc.
If they were both 30-minute wait, which one would you do?
I think Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. I think
you stuttered.
I know, but I think.
What if they were both a 15-minute wait?
What if I had $1 million or I had a great job?
Well,
you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
What would you do?
If there was no wait on either of them, I would do Navi River Journey. If I had to wait 15 minutes for one, I'm still gonna probably pick Walt Disney. What am I saying? Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. That's why it wins for me.
I tried to sway your decision there last minute.
I know. So we have to go to our point sheet that, if you don't know, please look at the rule system episode. So, yeah. Ryan, what points do you have for Navi River Journey?
So, the average overall for mine is 5.5.
And Monsters Inc. is 9 points.
What?
So,
that's
because it has a 2 in rewritability, or the average is 2 in rewritability, 4 because it's in Magic Kingdom, and then 3 for family oriented. When Navi River Journey, the big difference is, 1, it's in Animal Kingdom, so it gets 1 point, and then the family oriented is 2.5. So it, for the biggest thing is that since it's a newer ride, and the fact that I'm just like, it's not that great, it's not worth it. For me, that's why Navi River Journey does not go on. All
right.
I know you're disappointed, but that's an upset.
I'll have to take it.
That's an upset right there.
I'll have to take it.
If you're following along on your bracket, that's probably going to knock a couple people out. That's a big one. So to our next matchup, Ryan, take it away. Swinging it to you.
Moving right along, Walt Disney World Railroad up against Slinky Dog Dash.
I know. I don't know.
No, I know. I almost want to say, do we have to talk about it as long? If the railroad had gone up again against a more similar attraction, not a roller coaster, for me would have been definitely a longer discussion. I love the railroad. who doesn't like a railroad, especially that goes around the whole park. I wish it was more of an attraction-based,
like
Disneyland,
right?
Where you can fully ride it and fully have an experience
and actually see stuff that's not trees.
Exactly, throughout the whole entire thing. In Magic Kingdom, it's more, in Walt Disney World, it's more of a transportation just around the park.
And I know that sounds weird, and I agree with you, because a train is used for transportation, so it's like, but you're in Disney World, right? A train just can't be a train. It has to be, we're just going on a t-shirt or a mug or something. Let us know what you would want it on. But that word Disneyfied, right? The railroad can't be a regular railroad. It has to be Disneyfied. It has to have that extra wow factor, and I think the Walt Disney World Road does not.
Yeah. So for me, in that matter, Slinky Dog Dash definitely will move forward for me. Even though Toy Story Land has definitely seen some sad go-throughs. Slinky Dog just got back its tail after it being taken off for safety reasons, which, why was that never a thought in the first place?
Again, it's kind of taking it back to Navarro Journey. They had the space for this. They planned it all. They got rid of the backlot tour, which was so much space. So they had so much space to sit down and plan this and do it right from the beginning. And they didn't. Paint is already chipping off, and it hasn't even been open a year yet. So it's...
Yeah. Which is
I
completely crazy, but yeah.
I definitely... This definitely isn't a blowout, even though we agree.
Next matchup? Take it away.
Expedition Everest versus Kilimanjaro Safaris. They are both in Animal Kingdom. I already know what you're going to pick, so I'll start this off. Expedition Everest is a great roller coaster. Even though the Yeti is broken, it is in Disco Yeti. It's in B form. Basically means there's strobe lights and fans that make it look like the Yeti's moving, but the Yeti is actually not moving.
Yeah, B mode.
It hasn't moved in years. It only moved for the first couple months it was open. And I remember doing it when it opened. It was awesome. But it's still a really good roller coaster. Kilimanjaro Safaris, there's not many places that you can go do a safari like Kilimanjaro is, where actually see the sea animals in their natural habitat. I feel like my opinion is very less on this, but I really like kind of the whole poacher story with the elephants and kind of...
I wish they would have kept that.
Right, because then you're driving fast and you got to save the poachers. One, it adds to the safari, so it's actually like a really fun ride. Two, it teaches about poachers. It teaches the dangers of poachers to kids, people.
Right.
So it has that education, but also kind of... It was fun going
It
fast.
has that Disney storytelling that they do so well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, when they took that out, and I feel like when they took it out, it was kind of like very slow.
Yes.
Like kind of movement. Like, because they used to have actors at the end with like, I think guns or whatever. And like they were kind of like protecting, they were like the security guards or police officers
I don't know.
for poachers.
I got no idea.
I don't know what you call them.
Cool.
But anyway, like they took them out and then they just had the audio and then the driver would still interact. And then I think they just played the audio and that was it.
Right.
And the driver didn't interact. And then they just got rid of,
it completely.
Completely, which is, I guess, weird. At least that's how I remember it back then, which I wish they would have kept that. Everest, again, even though the Yeti's in B mode and that takes out of it, I don't think I've ever actually been on it when it's in A mode, fully functional.
I think we were on it once. I don't know, maybe
once,
but
I'm sure.
It's been a while since it's been in A mode.
Yeah, but I don't remember it. So again, I'm used to what it is
B mode.
now.
I agree. Agreed.
Even though I guess for me, it all comes down to who can get on it, who can, ride with it. Even though Kilimanjaro Safaris is very bumpy. I think for me, I think I'm going to say Everest.
Wow, that was I did not expect that. I thought you were going to go Safaris.
I like Everest.
Okay, I love Everest. It's a great roller coaster. I'm sticking with Safaris based on the two. If Everest was up against something that wasn't the Safaris, it would definitely be a different conversation. But I am saying Everest.
All right.
To the point sheet.
To the point sheet then.
So I'm finding Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Everest. We should have.
It's not in alphabetical order for some reason. So the geniuses who came up with that probably need to be. Deborah, can you fire them, please?
No, Deborah's gone.
We fired Deborah, or she quit?
No, both.
Both. I don't think it's
Case
possible.
still pending.
Okay. So, do you have
now you got me all
Everest?
Distracted. No, because you started talking about
It's on the
Deborah,
first page.
And
It's on the first page, right below Dumbo. You gotta find Dumbo. It's like right in the middle.
oh my gosh. Okay, I got it. Expedition Everest. All right, so Expedition Everest, the average point that we rated it is 6.
The average point that we rated Kilimanjaro Safaris, 7.
Ooh,
So that's
1 point.
That is 2 for 2 for
1
Randy.
point
So
loss.
Kilimanjaro Safaris moves on, and Expedition Everest now goes into C mode. I don't know. I was just trying to say it loses.
For see you later. Anyway.
Hey, I like it. All right. This episode's running a little long. It's okay. We only have a couple more matches to get to. We have Spaceship Earth and the Seven Dwarves Mine Train. This is a match where a good attraction will be going down. We'll lose.
Yeah. For me, Spaceship Earth, definitely an iconic ride. Even though it's been updated, it still keeps that same theme for it. The rumor is that or not really rumor, it's confirmed that it is going to go into a refurbishment.
For 2 years or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
a very, very long refurbishment. And I hope through it, they still keep the same story, the same background for it.
I would love if they added stuff too.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. There's definitely the technology and all that out to do that. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, even though it is a lighter roller coaster that more families can ride together, there's a lot of hype about it at first. Yeah, you want to get your fast pass and not wait in line for, upwards of 75 minutes to as little as I have only seen it, like 45.
Right.
It's always busy. And for that, I don't know that I see all the hubbub about it
anymore.
Mm-hmm. Now, riding it a couple times,
yeah,
it gets to be the same.
I agree. I wish the carts kind of were like. I wish they swung a lot
more.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
more
wish
free motion.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that would be really cool if you were actually, I don't know, something crazy like the bottom of your cart like went over top of you, but you're still facing up, but like technically your roller coaster just did a corkscrew. I know that's a lot. And for a small space, and it's supposed to be a kid's ride and family ride.
Yeah, family-friendly ride.
But Spaceship Earth, it just has that nostalgia. I love, again, it's one of these things that I can listen to the soundtrack while driving to work.
Oh, yeah.
Driving to something,
it's
I can listen to the
very long
soundtrack.
soundtrack.
But the thing is, you can listen to the soundtrack and know exactly where you are on the ride.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty cool to do.
Yeah, for me, nostalgia's absolutely going to win this one with Spaceship Earth. I know... I can say pretty much the ride before it even gets to that certain part in it, which is kind of funny, like papyrus.
Right.
Right.
There's definitely lines. I'm sad to see Seven Dwarfs Mine Train go, but it's not like it lost to a bad attraction.
Yeah. No, I don't think so at all.
I'm very excited to see what the future holds for Spaceship Earth. All right, what do we got? 4 matches left. Ugh. So moving on is Toy Story Mania and Reflections of China. I don't think this one needs much discussion. Reflections of China is a good show. It's like O Canada, Circle Vision, everyone's in the center. It's a little more serious than O Canada because I feel like, I don't know, people from China are just more serious, I guess. I don't know. But I would love to see an update or a big change from Reflections of China. I think it's rumored that they're going to redo the video or something, or I'm making that up.
Reflections of China is supposed to be, it's supposed to go like 9 cameras, like around.
Right.
It's seamless.
Seamless, right.
Yes.
So I'm sure the movie will probably change. So that's cool. But Toy Story Mania is always a good family ride. Ryan, do you have really anything to add? Or?
No, I absolutely love Toy Story Mania. It's been around for a little bit now. Reflections of China, even though it is that 9 multi-view camera, which is very original to Epcot, again, it's just been around for forever. Toy Story Mania definitely brings out the competitiveness of it in me to beat not only the person next to me, but the whole car.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Try to get
absolutely,
the high score of the hour, week, month, year score. So definitely Toy Story Mania for me.
Yeah.
A lot of rewritability in that for trying to get your score better.
Agreed.
All right, well, moving right along, last three.
Another tough matchup.
Yeah, so it's Test Track up against Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. Test Track, you get to design your own vehicle, and then you now test it on the sim track. Buzz Lightyear, again, it's kind of that competitive shooting aspect part of it. Similar to Toy Story Mania, but not 3D. It's more physical props that you hit and they fall or interact with you as you're shooting. This is a tough one for me.
Yeah, if it was old Test Track, I think
hands down.
I think Test Track wins just immediately.
Yes.
But with this new Tron, and I say Tron look because it's like future, but it's Tron. That waits. It's interesting that they have the whole design your car thing, but let's be honest, it's just another form of waiting. It might help make the wait not feel as long because you're actually doing something, which is good, but you're still waiting. That's what it's for. It's to keep people waiting, but make it not seem like they're waiting. If that makes sense. You get 3 minutes to design a car. Well, that's 3 minutes that you're standing there as the line in front of you kind of dwindles down, so then you can refill it.
Yeah, it's your quote pre-show.
Right.
Which to me, this is longer than a pre-show because even though it's timed, I just feel like it's slower. You're not fitting as many people in a pre-show as they used to.
And I love the old pre-show. It was funny. It was, and you were like, 7? Yeah, 7. And then it was a car crash and everyone laughed. It was funny. But a lot of amusement parks, a lot of Disney parks aren't even doing Buzz Lightyear anymore. That was like one of the attractions that like every park had. Well, not every park, but every
park was duplicating from.
Right. Like every Magic Kingdom park, every Disneyland, Tokyo Disney, they were doing that. But now Tokyo's Disney is doing Ant-Man and the Wasp, which would be awesome.
Yeah, no, that would really, really be cool and a nice refresher to Tomorrowland if they did that.
And it also feels outdated. That's the kind of last point I have.
Yeah, definitely outdated for that. For me, again, had it been the old Test Track, definitely move forward. But I think Buzz Lightyear move on.
I'm with Test Track.
Really?
Yeah, just because Buzz Lightyear feels outdated and parks aren't using it.
I'm 50-50 again with it. So
right.
I'm going to say Buzz Lightyear. I'm going to stick with my gut. But,
okay.
I'll be
Time to the point sheet.
See what the point sheet says. Yeah. Now I have to find... Oh, mine's good because half the sheet is in alphabetical order for some reason. And that's why I fired Deborah, okay? Because
that's why.
She only alphabetized the first half of the sheet and not the second half.
All right. So for me, Test Track has a average of 8 points.
Oh, Buzz Lightyear comes in at a whopping 9.
Oh, so Buzz Lightyear moves on.
Yeah, again, because it's 4 because it's in Magic Kingdom,
right?
And
and then Test Track is in Epcot, so that's where that point difference comes in at.
Yeah, for me, I put a 3 top for family oriented. Yeah.
Like I'm not sad to see Test Track go. I'm not angry that Buzz Lightyear's going. It's just one of those matches that I was 50-50. I think either one deserves to win, but also either one deserves to lose, I guess. That makes sense?
I mean, we had to pick a winner, so...
Yeah, right. So, like, I'm not...
One of them had to move on.
Right. So, our second to last one is Journey into Figment. Journey into Figment. That's a different type of ride. It's a ride for the adults. It's Journey into Figment. Oh my gosh!
If you say it one more time,
you read it.
I'm done. Read it. Journey into Imagination with Figment up against Star Wars Launch Bay.
Oh man, another toughie.
I know. Star Wars Launch Bay to me, I kind of wish they never kind of ventured into it.
I would love to see Animation Pavilion come back.
So would I. It's a place to meet some of the Star Wars characters, which is great, but you're going to have that in Galaxy's Edge coming up soon. Even though Journey into Imagination with Figment, again, not the best.
No.
but because it's up against Star Wars Launch Bay, for me, it's going to win this one. Had it been up against something else, unfortunately, it probably would have lost.
Yeah.
Even though Figment is very iconic to Epcot, definitely Star Wars Launch Bay is.
It definitely has that nostalgia feeling with Figment. But Star Wars Launch Bay, like you said, I am very sad to see the animation pavilion go. I am also sad that this isn't the Dreamcatcher, right?
Dreamcatcher.
But I wasn't around when he was a thing, so I don't have experience with him, and I wish he was still in it, and not Figment, or not this version of Figment.
Yes,
the third version of Figment, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so Journey into Figment wins. Last but not least is Cali River Rapids and Barnstormer, which is, so we got to pick a winner, but I feel like we're going to say which ride is better, but it's also which ride isn't the worst ride in Disney World.
No, I mean, Cali River Rapids, every park has some type of rapid ride, I feel, or log flume ride in that regards.
But on the other hand, every ride has that one kiddie coaster.
Kid roller coaster, I know. We have been on the Barnstormer, and we have been on Cali River Rapids. It's been a while since I've been on
absolutely
River Rapids. So
I think a factor of that, though, is that a lot of times we go in January, right after New Year's, because it's not as busy. The price is a little bit less. So that's when we go. So that could be a factor because, we're not going to do a water ride in there. But at the same time, we have not been on Cali River Rapids in a while. Continue.
Yeah, and usually when we go in January, it's usually under refurbishment. Because for that colder winter, quote, winter in Florida period, it's under refurbishment for that reason. The Barnstormer, even though it is a family kid roller coaster, it is very, very uncomfortable to sit in because the seats aren't as roller coaster-y.
Right. They're made for kids.
Yeah, no, they're made for kids, and it's that type of hard plastic that makes it look like a seat cushion of an airplane. For me, even though I don't like to get soaked in the parks unless I'm leaving the parks right away, Cali River Rapids is gonna win this one.
Wow. Barnstormers wins it for me.
What?
Just because Goofy has his own ride. I love Goofy. The fact that it's very, your plane goes through the sign, it goes through a barn, as Goofy or the Great Goofini, as accidental proof he is, he does all the stuff your car experiences. It's just very well themed. Not saying Cali River Rapids isn't, but it's very short. Looking at what Cali River Rapids was supposed to be, and then seeing what it is now due to budget cuts, that's why the Barnstormer wins it for me.
All right, well, for the last matchup of this one is a tie, so we go to our point sheet, and Cali River Rapids, the average points is 4.
The average points for the Barnstormer is 7.
Oh,
so
nice.
The Barnstormer takes this one.
Moves on. Not that I'm sad that the Barnstormers moved on. Again, it's more 50-50.
It's one of those things, it's just 50-50. One of them had to win.
Yeah, one of them had to win.
One of them had to go. So just to summarize, all the winners are Carousel of Progress, Turtle Talk with Crush, Haunted Mansion, Enchanted Tales with Belle, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Peter Pan's Flight, Mad Tea Party, O Canada, Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, Slinky Dog Dash, Kilimanjaro Safaris, Spaceship Earth, Toy Story Mania, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger, Journey into Imagination with Figment, got that right, and the Barnstormer. So please tune in next week, right?
Yeah, no, good discussion.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what round 2 comes up. So make sure you stay tuned for that one.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review as it helps us improve the show. And as always, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.